Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock, Drogheda. I'm Nick Park, and sometimes when I read news headlines, I wonder, am I reading the news or am I reading science fiction? Because there's stuff going on in the world today which seems almost unimaginable. For example, scientists are working out how to transport a container of antimatter across Europe in a truck. Now, we understand about matter, everything's composed of matter, pretty much everything in the universe. So how can you have something called antimatter? That in itself sounds like something out of science fiction. Well, apparently antimatter differs from the normal matter of which everything in the universe consists, in that all the electrical charges on it are all back to front instead of positive atoms. It is negative and so on like that. And now, this antimatter can only be produced in particle physics laboratories such as CERN in Geneva, and it's incredibly expensive. It's actually the most expensive substance, or should that be anti-substance, in the universe. 1 gram of antimatter, it costs several $1 trillion to produce it. Just think of that, several $1 trillion to produce 1 little gram's worth of antimatter. And yet they're producing it in a laboratory in Geneva, and they want to transport it in a truck across Europe, which apparently is very complicated because if antimatter and matter come together, then they cancel each other out and they basically evaporate with a massive burst or explosion of electromagnetic radiation. And if that sounds like the plot from a novel, it actually is, because the author Dan Brown wrote a novel called Angels and Demons, and the plot line of that novel was somebody getting a canister of antimatter and trying to use it to blow up the Vatican. Now, having said that, I wouldn't put a lot of store in what Dan Brown says about science, because he's the guy that wrote the Da Vinci Code, and if his knowledge of science is as crazy and mistaken as his knowledge of church history and theology was in the Da Vinci Code, then I wouldn't be surprised if he's got it all totally wrong. But scientists, real scientists, do tell us that indeed it is very dangerous to transport this stuff, and so the quantities are going to be so small the explosion wouldn't be that big, but they don't want a truck blowing up when somebody's driving it, so they're working out how they're going to transport it. Now, why are scientists spending trillions of dollars to produce 1 gram of this substance or anti-substance or whatever on earth it is? It stretches my mind to even comprehend of it, to be honest. Well, apparently they're researching all about the origins of the universe and the Big Bang, and why there's so much matter in the universe and so very little antimatter, and why that's not what they would have expected from all their theories about the Big Bang and how the universe came into being. Look, I don't know how the universe came into being. The Bible says God said. So that would have made quite a noise. That would be quite a big bang, I guess. But the thing is, even if scientists can work out just how the Big Bang took place, even if they can work out just how the universe came into being, even if they can work out, therefore, just why there is so much matter in the world and so little antimatter, that doesn't explain where it all came from in the first place. And really, science tries to explain the origin of everything, but all it does is push it back one step. Something came out of something, something came out of something, but nobody's yet been able to explain how can something come out of nothing. The only explanation for how all we see around us, the universe, everything else, can come out of nothing is in the book of Genesis, when it says, God said, "Let there be light." And God spoke everything into existence, and he made it out of nothing. So I wish them well with their experiments with matter and antimatter and goodness knows what else. If it improves our total sum of human knowledge, then I guess it's kind of worth it. But the fact is, it doesn't explain where it all came from in the very beginning, because to create something out of something may have took a big bang, but to create something out of nothing requires God. and therefore God is the ultimate answer to all of these questions. God bless you today. Join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.